Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and any other time of day to you. Welcome to episode 17 of the Comedian's Tea Party. In this episode, I have the very lovely Matt Price, all the way from Cornwall. I've just spent the past 5 minutes with my fiancée, giving me terrible puns, about which she looks very pleased. So as a result of that, my brain is all over the place and I can't help but think of things that rhyme with other words. So, yeah, thanks for that. You're not gonna respond. You're just gonna sit there looking smug here. Great. This was a genuinely brilliant episode. I really enjoyed it. And obviously, I recorded it on the same day that I recorded with Kieran Boyd, which was a brilliant episode. I hope you've listened to it and enjoyed it. That was really, really fun to record. This one, I walked away thinking, my word, that was a brilliant chat. Not that I didn't with any of the others, but it was just the stories that he told. Just what's the word I'm looking for? All right, you're not helping. What was that? Where was I? Fuck you. He was captivating. That is exactly the word I was looking for. Thank you. Captivating. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it's great. It's just, I hope you all feel the same way when you listen to it back. And I do suggest that you all go and listen to his podcast, Conversations with Criminals, because it's incredible. It's really, really good. It is captivating. There's only a little bit in this where the sound actually cuts out, so it's largely successful, much more so than previous podcasts, which is nice. So we're getting there. I think I'm starting to work it out. Additionally, after the nightmare of a day that I had, I was a little bit more on my game, which was very pleasant, because I was just a little bit all over the place talking to Kieran, but it was still a good chat. I think I still really enjoyed it. And also another thank you to the Albany for allowing me to record the episode there, both episodes. It was very kind. And a special thank you to the bar staff who gave me chips when I was particularly hungry, because I had a nightmare of a day. It's been a fortnight since the last one, and I feel like that's a good length of time. Like I'm quite busy at the minute, so I feel like a fortnight is a decent length of time. So probably expect more episodes fortnightly from this point onwards until I become more available. So yeah, there's loads of interesting stories about Matt's travels and things that have happened to him and his partner, and it's just great. I hope you enjoy it. So I'll speak to you a bit further at the end with some more plugs. However, if you don't get to the end, don't forget to check out his show in Australia and check him out in Edinburgh and enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Comedian's Tea Party with Deaves, with me, Deaves, and in this episode my guest is Matt Price.
Hello, Si.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, great to be here.
Cool. We are about to learn how to make loose leaf tea. I mean, have you done it before?
Not for a very long time. I assumed that you were like the tea daddy, so to speak.
Many people would make that assumption. They would be incorrect.
Okay, well, we'll have a go. I mean, that is, you're holding a bag of Russian tea.
Yes, and I just tried to read the instructions, and obviously they are Russian. So.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. All I know, I can give you some background if it helps.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, I'm very glad to be here, obviously. And when I found out I was going to be a guest, I thought, right, I shall bring some tea. And I happened to be in Russia. I was in St. Petersburg, and I said to the guy who was sort of taking me around, "Is there Russian tea?" And he said, "Well, yes, there is." He said, "There's different types, and this particular one that you're holding," he said, this is sort of Soviet tea."
Oh, right.
In the sense that before things kicked off and capitalism kicked off, that was the tea that they drank, and they've held on to it. I don't know if it's for nostalgia or if it's particularly good tea, but so we're going to find out. And I don't know what it's called because I can't remember, and I can't read Russian or speak Russian, so we'll find out. But it's Russian tea. It's old school Russian tea.
I'm excited and scared in equal measure. If I had to guess, I'd say that looks like it says Katata.
I think Katata might well be the brand name of the shop.
Okay.
Because I got some honey as well, which I didn't bring.
Right.
And I was told that you can have it with milk. as well,
Okay.
which is good.
We've got a little bit of milk there, still cold. So yeah, we're still
And
good.
so or you don't have to. And I was told that there may or may not be caffeine in it. So I
Yeah.
don't know. So your guess is as good as mine. But I thought it'd be a bit of fun
I
anyway.
mean, so far it smells like a sort of a fairly standard black tea. So
It might well be a standard black tea.
yeah, let's find out.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's supposed to brew for because, again, the instructions are in Russian.
I don't know. How long
Cool.
have we been so far?
About 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can give it. Should we? I don't want to take. I don't want to be.
That's
sort
right. No, we'll give it a minute to brew.
Cool.
I mean, in the meantime,
Yeah.
what were you doing in Russia?
I was doing a couple of gigs, but I was also teaching a workshop, which is not really something that I planned on doing. And I was going to interview a guy who wrote a book about how to survive in a Russian prison when you're not technically a criminal, which I
Interesting.
thought would be great to do. And of course, very long story short, he said, "Oh no, sorry, changed my mind now." And I thought, "Oh great, brilliant." And I met an Arab guy who was good company, and he said to me, "Listen, would you like to come and meet my friend tomorrow? I've just texted her. She'll tell you about crime." And I went, and I ended up in an beautiful old building that used to be a brothel.
Okay.
And it was quite well known by the police. And I sat there. I thought I was going to get half an hour, and 3.5 hours later, I left quite drunk. They had in this brothel, everything in it, this ex-brothel, she owned. So she signed the rental contract that said that she could have the contents of it. So that includes
Wow.
the safe that was in the kitchen.
Right.
And she said, "Oh yeah, we get drunk and we try and crack the safe." And I said to her, "Look, I'm not the most assertive of people. I don't want to be too forward, but can I have a go at cracking your safe, please?" She said, "Well, better men than you have tried, but give it a go." So I gave it a go, and it didn't work.
Right. Oh,
So-
I got really excited for a second there.
I was really hoping, no, because I mean, I nearly lied. But I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I didn't know what was in there,
Yeah.
and nobody knows what's in there. It might be nothing. Someone said it could be a head or something.
Yeah.
But and we'll never
Wow.
know, or I'll never know anyway.
So what was it that she could tell you about crime?
Well, she told me.
I mean, don't give anything away that might be on your podcast, by the way, because you.
No, I mean she was very interesting. She actually played it down, which tells me that for the most part, when somebody plays down what they have done, that she was a player. There were certain clues, the way she spoke about it, the amount of drugs that she'd sold, but she wasn't bigging herself up particularly. And also, more interestingly for me was that she was in London. She went to a very good school and a very good university in London. She spoke several languages, including Russian. Spent much of her childhood going to and from Russia. Now lives there. She has a responsible job. She's an English teacher,
Oh, okay.
but she gets up to all sorts of stuff.
But owns an ex-brothel.
Yeah, she owns an ex-brothel, and she was kidnapped a couple of times by what they call gypsy cab drivers. So you could just, at one point in Russia, you could just stop a car
Yeah.
and pay them some rubles and get in.
Wow.
And because she's a tiny woman,
Yeah.
on a couple of occasions, she suddenly realised, oh, hang on, I appear to be in the middle of nowhere. But she dealt with that accordingly.
I'm intrigued by that.
And so...
But,
and
she was there to tell tales. So.
Oh, yeah. And she spoke about how to get drugs in Russia as well, which is not something that I do. I'm more than happy with the tea. But,
Yeah, it could be drugs. We're not sure.
well, you never know. I mean... And she spoke about the dark web and how they do it Russian style.
Right.
So it's slightly different over here. I know someone who gets his personal drugs on the dark web, and it's just sent through the post. So typically he might buy, say, a quarter of hash, because he's quite old school, and he'll get a very discreet looking package. It doesn't always have a postmark on it, because they have to be discreet.
Yeah.
And typically there'll be a pack of playing cards, and inside the playing card there's a little hole that you can place the hash in a vacuum sealed bag, and it just looks like a pack of playing cards.
Yeah.
So
Like the old sort of Bible with a gun in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. So that's his method of doing it. In Russia, for some reason, sending it through the post is not quite as reliable. So what you do is you go onto the dark web, and which is not as sinister as it sounds, and you go to a site and you order your drugs, and then you then get a photograph of the dustbin that it's hidden in.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like almost like a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
So it's really bizarre. It almost sounds, my dad listened to it and he said, oh, it sounds like someone's been watching too many spy movies, but that's how they do it. So she spoke a lot just about how crime in general works. The Arab guy told me all sorts of things about police bribery, which is that you can buy anything and bribe anybody over there, it would seem.
Yeah.
And then he spoke about the Chechens who run Moscow, and the plan is for me to go back to meet with an interpreter Chechen criminals.
Right. Okay.
Who are active.
Yeah.
But I can do it with a sort of journalistic license, as it were.
Yeah.
I hope. Or I could go missing.
Yeah. Well, because obviously, you get like Ross Kemp and stuff does that sort of thing, but then he's got a camera crew that are documenting it. So.
I met him. I liked him when I met him, and I was always a fan, and good on him. I think his programs are great, and the same with Danny Dyer as well. I wouldn't knock anybody, but I do sort of take pride in the fact that it is just me.
Yeah.
So if anything happens, there's no one there. I'm my own hair, makeup, wardrobe, and director.
Good grief.
So I don't know if there's an element of danger particularly. I take a few risks.
Yeah. Blimey. That's the. From my past of working in slightly dodgy bars in Southend, there's honour among thieves. Like they're generally trustworthy as long as you're nice to them.
I think so.
Is what I've found.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, the main thing is, I'm speaking to people who have something to reflect upon. I've met active criminals, and I know some active criminals, but I don't know their business.
Yeah.
And I'm more about I always think to myself, 10 years from now, you'll be great to talk to.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal, just they're living it now.
Yeah.
And that's between them and the police. So I'm not a vigilante. I'm not trying to expose anybody or anything like that. I'm speaking to people typically when they've been to jail.
Right.
When they've stopped being
and they've
active.
Reformed. As such,
some people would argue you never really get out of it, but it's still interesting to meet them and to get their views. So as far as honour among thieves, dormant maybe, that's probably a good way of putting it. I think the label often sticks. It's hard for them to shake it off.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm in any danger.
Yeah, that's good.
I hope not.
Yeah, I've always sort of wondered about that sort of thing, like how much danger are you in?
Honestly, I don't think so, because I'm not from that world, and I make it very clear that I'm not from that world.
I expect nothing of you.
Have a specific reason to be there as well, which is good. The podcast that I'm doing is essentially me answering the questions that I would have had to have answered had I have taken violent revenge on the guy who nearly killed my missus.
Right.
So that's a very specific reason to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, they respect me or they like me, but that's my calling card. And I'll say to them, look, I want to know about your life, and I want to sit and I want to listen and hear what you have to tell me and what your conclusions are. And we do that, and we sit down and we talk, and I spend most of the time listening and prompting, rather like you are now.
Yeah.
Thinking, what the hell's this? Quite often. In a good way, but just, wow.
Watching people unravel.
How am I going to process this?
Yeah.
And it's been a very interesting journey. It's not particularly sinister. I have to say, all the people I've met are all very, very different. Yeah. All very different opinions as well. And I've liked most of them, I think, and enjoyed their company very much. And I've learned a lot from it as well. Yeah. And, if I'd have gone to jail, I could have been sharing a cell with anyone. Yeah. If you think they just put you in with anybody.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So.
Well, that was because I was listening to your chat with Dave Courtney on the way up here, and like he was saying, was he in a cell with his son?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's so intense. Like that's.
Yeah.
like, certainly from the way he was talking about it. And I implore anyone who's listening to go and listen to that podcast, because it's great, and it's called Conversations with Criminals. Is that
That's
right?
right. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's certainly different. It's and Dave and his friend Brendan have a very unique sense of humour.
Yeah,
I would say
you get that vibe.
Yeah, you do, and it evolves as well. I mean, as it gets more into it, it becomes a lot more personal as well, and they tell me all sorts of things. So it's been it's been very interesting actually. It's when I first met them 7 years ago, I sort of walked up the hill in South East London in Plumstead to Dave's house, and I thought, I want to be in the company of a dangerous man. That was my agenda. I felt like if I could justify me by being in the company of someone who could kill me if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And I left after about 10 hours thinking, wow, I really like this bloke. He's actually very funny.
Oh, really?
And so I kept just going back and speaking to them more and more, and we've got to know each other. And it's not the crimes that I'm interested in, it's the humour and their view of the world. And Dave, there's a lot of talk about Dave Courtney, a lot of urban mythology about him, and he's the first person to tell you, actually, he wasn't really a criminal. He wasn't a particularly good criminal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not really. He was a doorman, and he ran a security firm, and he ended up doing security at a high-profile criminal's funeral, and that was it. The press said he was the heir to the British throne. So he wrote a book, and it went from there. He became a celebrity gangster. So,
wow.
But now because he was famous, he couldn't do anything other than write books, make films, make music, do sort of after dinner speaking.
Yeah.
So he's an entertainer. He's a funny guy.
So his own sort of notoriety has informed his personality.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. No, it is. It is. He's a good guy. I wouldn't say he's nice. He wouldn't want me to say that he was nice.
Yeah.
Because obviously he has a criminal
That's
past.
not his brand. Yeah.
And crime is not nice. But he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good baddie.
Yeah.
Is what he is.
Yeah. He's the bad guy that you all want to support.
Yeah, he is really. So they are sort of underdogs. They're like the Del Boy and Rodney of crime, really.
Yeah.
Because now they have to survive.
Yeah.
So he's known by the police, therefore he can't commit crimes, and you can't get a job working in Tesco. So you have to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And that's where the challenge comes in. So I'm genuinely intrigued by them. I really am.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, how many parts is it in? Because I listened to the pilot of it.
I haven't really decided actually how many it's going to be, because that pilot episode, I had an iPhone that I put very close to the pool. I've even been on the pool table, and we played pool, and I just recorded the whole day.
Yeah.
And that was the first conversation that we ever had.
Right.
He explains why he plays pool one-handed and what he was doing. And then he spoke about his son. So I have quite a lot to sift through. I don't know how many it's going to be. I'm going to tell the story as I see it. Because it isn't just Dave's story. It's Dave and Brendan, his right-hand man, his best mate for over...
There's some very funny stories about him as well.
Oh, some great stories.
Being a coward.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, they're excellent. And so I don't know how long I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. I want to tell it as thoroughly as I can. And today was just I put it out there just to see if people would be interested or not.
Yeah. I mean, certainly from my point of view, like I want to hear more. So
great. Well, that's good. Well, that's right. It's endorsed, then, isn't it? I don't think Twinings are going to sponsor it. I wouldn't have.
No, I feel like you've maybe got more chance with Celestial Seasonings.
Yeah, with the bull,
with the smoking bull. Yeah, that is. I mean, he's literally. He looks livid.
He does. He looks really angry.
Yeah,
really angry. It's great.
Like, I've got to imagine that was done from a photo, and whoever took that photo and then ran really, really fast.
I wonder. It's a strange looking beast, it has to be said.
Yeah.
And it's a strange marketing tool as well.
Yeah. But generally, so if you haven't heard the last podcast with Kieran Boyd, we're recording those. I'm recording those on the same day, and we just had the Celestial Seasonings. Was it Morning Thunder?
Yes,
yeah.
It's Morning Thunder. I'm just trying to picture if you couldn't read what you'd think that was, just with the bull, Because
Yeah.
I'm just, that doesn't say tea to me.
I would assume some kind of dried meats.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But the fact that it says contains caffeine as well is kind of worrying.
Yeah. Why did I have to add that? Like you sort of.
Yeah, I don't know. Isn't it?
Most companies would specify caffeine free.
Yeah, I think so. So
rather than it's got caffeine.
Yeah, kind of boastful. But
I believe you. I went dizzy though.
yeah, I know you did. I could see from over there.
I don't know if I changed colour, but I felt like I did.
Yeah, I think so. Should we try the,
Go on. Yeah,
the Russian
I think there were probably...
stuff? I mean, I don't know. It looks like it's changed colour.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I don't know if I've put enough in.
I don't know. Nice sound though, isn't it? That's...
Yeah. If I can sample that.
Do you do milk or...
I do milk, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have a little bit of milk.
I might try a bit of milk as well. I can't quite...
Sort of, it just looks like normal tea, really.
It does look like normal tea. It
smells moderately normal.
It smells moderately normal as well, yeah. Yes, you're right.
As
okay,
such,
this might be disappointing now. Sorry, people of Russia.
No, it's good. It means I can make a solid tea.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that.
Like that.
So, of course, I go to different people's
Oh, it's got a funny colour.
houses and different locations.
I think maybe it's not strong enough.
And I went to somewhere to sort of interview a guy who's been on the wrong side of the law.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Oh, would you like a cup of tea?" And I said, "Yes, please." He said, "What sort of tea do you want? Do you want normal tea or would you like the deluxe tea?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to have to go deluxe."
Yeah.
And he said, "All right then." So now you know the
What does that mean?
tea machines
Yeah.
where you get the cups, and they always taste awful, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's a cup of tea,
Yeah.
but it's generally not something that's been made with love. Somebody, I don't know any of the details at all. Somebody had robbed a warehouse.
Okay.
But they planned to rob a warehouse, but they robbed the wrong warehouse.
Oh.
And it happened to have all this tea in it.
Yeah.
And they were so angry at having robbed the wrong warehouse that they nicked all the tea in these cups. And then they realised, well, we can't really sell that on the black market.
Yeah.
So they went around the local area, literally driving around with hundreds of cups sort of stacked inside each other to offer to various people in, I wouldn't say in the criminal underworld as such, but certainly people who are involved in crime.
Yeah.
And who think that they like tea. So that was the strangest cup of tea I've ever had. It was
How was
really
it?
weird. It was fine, but it just seemed weird to drink evidence.
Yeah.
And so it was, and he said, "Oh look, we got about 200 of these. So do you want another one?" That's very kind. It was fine. I mean, it was just the sort of thing that you would get from a tea machine. But obviously, he poured a kettle and just poured water on it, and we sat there drinking deluxe tea and doing an interview. But it was kind of bizarre.
How funny.
Yeah, I know, it was weird.
Oh. That's sort of a similar offer of things, and I was thinking about this on the way up here as well. Of some of the people that I've been friends with over the years, because myself, I don't touch drugs and I don't partake in any criminal activity except for. Sometimes I go 2 or 3 miles over the speed limit.
Yeah, which is what most people
I'm
do.
human. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I've only ever killed 4 people, so
yeah,
it's I dabble.
Pretty good.
But there was one of my friend's dad. Now my friend's dad was he was a nice enough bloke, but a sort of a little bit of a shady character. And he was friends with some very shady characters.
Right.
One of whom, I don't really want to say what I'm told he did.
Okay. Fair enough.
He was very involved in criminal activity, a loan venture, if you will.
Okay.
It was a weird man, nice guy, but weird. And he turned to me once. He said, "Oh, do you want some of this?" And held up a joint. And I was like, "Oh no, I'm all right, thanks, man." And he said, "Are you sure? It's got some coke in it." I was like, "Nope."
Wow.
No, really, I'm fine.
Yeah. Oh God, that's weird.
It's I was going to say no before, but definitely no now.
Did he not mind? He wasn't offended or anything?
No, he was a nice bloke.
Yeah,
And then
most people are nice about it.
Yeah, it's the funny things that sort of a number of my no, I won't grass them up. A number of my friends are drug takers, and sort of neither me nor my fiance are at all interested. But we'll go to parties and they'll be like, "Oh, do you want some drugs?" And we're like, "No, thank you." And I go, "Oh, cool, yeah, no worries." But they act to us like we're the weird ones. For sort of like how sort of most people would be like, "Oh, drugs, oh no, not for me," and they're just like, "Oh, really? Oh, all right, yeah, sure."
Yeah, I can imagine. No,
but they're cool about it.
Yeah, of course. No, I've sat there with people. I'll drink tea or whatever, or coffee while people smoke a joint or take whatever it is. I don't mind. It's just not for me. Really. Yeah. I just think I'm not an idiot, but a Coke wouldn't be good for me. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't want to imagine what I'd be like on cocaine. I don't think I'd be a very pleasant human at all.
No, and I can hug people without ecstasy.
Yeah.
I think I've got a decent enough imagination that I probably don't need acid. So I took mushrooms once when I was a kid.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, never again. Horrible.
Oh really?
Horrible experience. I have to say, I enjoyed the ritual of picking the mushrooms.
Oh, okay. You did it like properly.
Well, yeah, there's a place in Cornwall. I don't think it's there anymore. I think it's just a road now, but it was called Teagle Straits. And you used to go down Teagle and with a brown paper bag. Everyone had brown paper bags. And,
right.
you would go and pick them at a certain time of year. And we're talking, it's a long time ago now, and I was like a teenager. And it was me and my friend and his dad.
All right.
And we went picking them. And there's other people there with brown paper bags at the time, all picking these mushrooms and all pretend that they're not picking the mushrooms.
Yeah.
And then we took them back, and I think we made tea, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course we did. We made magic mushroom tea.
Yeah.
And it was possibly the worst night of my life. But I'm kind of glad I did it, because that was it. I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Definitely not once. I just did it the once, didn't know what I was. It was about 18 probably.
Yeah.
I thought, this just isn't for me.
Yeah. So I've just had I've had some experiences of other people doing drugs that have been sort of similar of me seeing it and going, oh, that's not for me. And I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but again in the pub that I used to work in, where it was known that people were taking drugs, and it was just sort of it was fine. Like if we caught them doing it, we'd stop them, but we knew they were doing it and they'd be careful about it. But they were quite nice about it. But there was a guy who did like the odd shift there, and my mate went behind the bar once and saw him laying on the floor, and he said, "You all right, mate?" And he went, "Yeah. You know, I've done some ketamine, and I don't think I can move."
Wow,
so he was just stuck to the floor. And another time, same guy, one of my other mates went down to the kitchen once and saw him there, and he's just standing up against the wall, like sort of arms out flat against it. And he went, "You all right, mate?" And he went, "Yeah. I think I might be wallpaper."
Oh, lovely. That's really funny.
Yeah.
but it doesn't. But it's good in a way, because it doesn't make me want to do it. I don't think, oh, great, I could be scared and confused.
Like, I've got some funny drug stories. They're not about me. Do
you know what?
I'm happy with that.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I knew somebody who took acid once, was outside in the garden talking to God, and then got really, really freaked out when God threw a bucket of water over him. And it was a next door neighbour going, "You bastard, what are you, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, who do you think you are?" And he was freaked out because he was, God sounds like, somebody I know, but I can't work out who it is. Why has God got a Cornish accent?
Yeah.
And he said to his 2 friends, "Can you take me to the nearest mental hospital?" And they were also on acid, so they all jumped in a car and drove to this mental hospital. And he said there was literally a point where we could go left and go to the mental hospital. And I say that term, I don't mean it in any sort of nastiness to, that we're going to go to the loony bin, go left, or we can go right and then just go back home and you go speak to God again. And he said, "Oh, fuck it, I've come down now, let's go right." He said, but he was more than willing to be sectioned because God threw a bucket of water over him.
Oh, how funny.
It is funny.
I say funny, like it's horrendous.
Well,
but
I'm glad it's not me. It doesn't make me want to do drugs. I don't think drugs are particularly cool. I think that there are some funny drug stories, and I don't know how you think about it, but I do. And But I do think that sometimes, do you know, am I allowed to be mildly annoyed on your podcast? I don't like it when people bang on about how great drugs are.
Yeah.
You know, I think when they're, oh no, you need to like broaden your mind, man. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think so. Don't get me wrong, it's another perspective.
Yeah.
But you can stand on the edge of a cliff. That'll broaden your mind. There's
Yeah,
lots of
absolutely.
things you can do.
That's because that's the funny thing. Like, I've known people like that in the past who sort of they try and push it on you, and everyone that I'm friends with now, if they're taking drugs, like I do generally just drink tea in the corner, and I'm just like, no, I'm fine. Like, I'll get pissed or whatever. But but I do various things where I sort of get thrills, like I surf and I snowboard,
great.
and
Amazing.
there's like, because I've meditated in the past as well, which is great, but there's nothing that will ever clear your mind and get you more centered than when you're surfing, because when you're on a wave, that is the only thing in the world that's happening, and like nothing else exists, and it's incredible.
Absolutely, only a surfer knows the feeling, as they say, and I get it. I spent a summer surfing, or trying to surf anyway.
Yeah.
And because I used to skateboard, I was very good actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No. I genuinely was, and I never say I'm good at anything, but I was good. I did freestyle skateboarding.
Oh wow.
Footage of me online actually of doing it, and I was good at it. And surfing, I wouldn't say was the next step, but it was something that back home in Cornwall, of course, there's lots of beaches there, and
lots of it.
So I get it with surfing, but that's an incredible rush.
Yeah,
it's an extraordinary thing.
It's amazing.
You know, just catching a wave, you know what it's like.
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
amazing. It's such an amazing thing, and and then that wave is gone.
Yeah,
it's unique. Even if it seems like the waves are setting in the same way, they're not.
Yeah,
really. So every wave is unique, and
they all feel different.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a very special thing.
But sort of, you know, you and I knowing that rush, I can understand if nobody else has ever felt that, how they might want to feel like a certain.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
That sort of thing, and like if they've discovered they can feel that with drugs, then I get that.
You can, and also as well, I suppose with surfing, you must have wiped out and been under the water for longer than you wanted to be.
Yeah.
How bad is that? That's scary. Yeah. That's we're going to draw an analogy. That's like a bad trip.
Yeah, because it's when you sort of you think you're upright and you start swimming and you're like, I can't tell, and then you think I've been underwater for too long, and it's probably like seconds, if that, but it feels like forever. Yeah,
I remember being at Perranporth Beach and the surf being sort of blown out, so it wasn't clean at all, and paddling out and trying, and I'm talking like a pro now, like that film Big Wednesday where they got the massive sort of 20-foot waves.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It was about 3 foot, but it was blown out, so it was the winds all over the place and the tides pulling you everywhere, and I can remember thinking, I'll try and duck dive, which is quite an interesting manoeuvre, where you dive underneath the wave, and the next thing I know, this wave sort of on top of me, and that's it, and I'm thinking, great, I'm going to die now, and I'm just splashing around, and of course I swim, and I thought, I'm going to swim, and then I hit the bottom, and I feel like I've done it for an eternity, but of course you haven't, like you say, it's only a few seconds, and then finally you think, thank God I'm alive, oh God, here we go again, there's another wave on top of you. And then it is. But it's still great though. I'd love to be able to surf properly.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't at all. I'm rubbish, but it's great fun. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing,
isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you surf. That's really cool.
Yeah. I've got a sister in Indian Queens. So
nice.
I go down that way all the time.
Oh, brilliant. Of course. Yeah, because you've gigged down there as well.
Yes. Yeah. That's how I met Graham.
Well, say you bastard. Just got to say that he's a good friend of mine. He'll understand.
Yes.
That was Cornish for hello, Graham.
I'm sure he knows.
We're going to Australia actually. Me and Graham Wilkes and Dan Triscott. Yeah, we're doing that soon.
Yeah, Dan Triscott was on 2 episodes ago.
Oh well, yes, and, he enjoyed that.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I'm going to say I'm enjoying it as well. No, he did enjoy it. And the thing is, there's the comedy circuit where there's a grapevine and people talk, but there's also the little Cornish comedy circuit as well. And we talked, and he said, "Yeah, it's a bloody beaut on," is what he said. Which is, he said it was a bloody beaut on, which I'll slow it right down. Bloody, as in bloody.
Yeah.
Beaut on, as in beautiful.
Oh, all right.
It was really good.
Oh.
that is proper Cornish.
That's the most Cornish thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely, it's the most Cornish thing I've ever said. but he went, bloody beaut on was. So.
Oh, nice. Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, no, that's like a compliment in Cornish dialect.
Yeah.
Very Cornish dialect.
Nice.
How was the gig down there?
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun. Yeah, it's the St Austell Brewery.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I was opening, and it's a really weird vibe, but it was cool. I had fun.
It's always a weird vibe. I like St Austell, or Snozzle, as they call it. And I was a trainee swimming pool attendant there.
Oh, right.
And I got fired because I couldn't swim. It was ridiculous. And there was all sorts of things that happened. I knocked over a trampoline when I was trying to put it out. And another time I was carrying a ladder and it smashed through the ceiling.
Yeah.
And what really did it was there was a clock. So it was years ago. So I was like 16, not really wanting to be there. Couldn't swim very well. Hated it. Couldn't see the point either in swimming. Although, so why be a trainee lifeguard? It's stupid, isn't it? And I'm stood on the side of the pool with this guy. There's a metal ladder, and I've got to change the clock.
Right.
So, and this guy, the lifeguard, he wasn't a bully, but he was older than me, and he would take liberties a little bit. He would take the piss a little bit. So he's holding the bottom of this metal ladder on the pool side, and I go up the metal ladder, and he's... Back in the day, you were able to go like that, which is like an insult, essentially. Anybody in their 40s will tell you how hilarious that was, but it wasn't a complimentary thing anyway. You can't really do it now, but he was making these noises that were suggesting that I was stupid, and he wasn't entirely mistaken about that. But there was a bare wire. Now, when I say bare wire, I don't mean like lots of wires. There was actually, like the youth would say, there was a bare wire, and I touched this wire, and I got an electric shock. But of course, my grandma used to say, a problem shared is a problem halved. He shared the electric shock with me, and he squealed like this.
Oh, amazing.
And shortly
Sounds like
after
it couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Well, shortly after that, I was asked, maybe you don't want to do this anymore, and I thought, yeah, I shall leave. And so I did.
How funny.
No, it is. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Stupid, really. But I've always done that. I've always done things that will sort of challenge me in a way. I didn't plan on speaking to criminals or, people on the wrong side of the law, but it's something that frightened me, so I did it.
Yeah.
Same with stand-up. Did it. Skateboarding used to scare me, so I did it.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of my life trying to prove things to myself. So people I went to school with, they'll see me. I'm talking at you now, Si, but honestly, I don't know. Have you ever met someone who you went to school with? 'Cause most people I meet, and I'm like, oh, actually, I quite like you. It's okay. Even idiots. People. One guy said to me, mate, I just want to apologise for everything I ever said when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I went, that's all right. Why don't we have a pint?
Yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah, brilliant. And I'm like, do you know what? That's cool. One guy said to me, look, can I apologise for everything I ever said before the age of 30? And I'm like, yeah, okay, all right.
I think we should all do that.
Like, wow, okay, yeah, fair enough. And I'm not knocking anybody of any age. I'm not. But this guy, I'm walking on the industrial estate where my dad lives. There's like 4 houses down there. We're one of them. Been there since 1860. And a guy pulls up in a car, and he goes, all right. And I thought, oh God, it's you. I remember you from school. So he drives, wait there, and he drives up, and he comes back in another car and does like a donut in the middle of the road. And he gets out of the car, and he looks at me, he's got this cocky expression on his face, and he goes, Matthew motherfucking Price, as I live and bastard and breathe. And he dry humps the air. He goes, I've got 3 daughters, 2 cars, and I own a pub. What have you done with your life? You're a comedian, or you're shit. And I said, yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah, well, do a show. I'll come along and heckle you. And I said, no, please don't. Please don't, because I can't handle somebody interjecting. I don't think I'm able to cope. And he's the only person I've met from school. And I met dozens of people who I thought, no, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You are a genuine, bona fide... Sorry. You can edit that bit out. That was for you. Yeah. No, cut that out completely. You're a genuine, bona fide idiot.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's funny, like, I remember there was one, because I worked in another bar sort of a bit later on. It was around the same time that I started doing comedy. And a guy came in and he went, oh, hello, Si, you all right? And I was like, oh, all right, man, how you doing? And he says, oh, God, I'm so sorry for like bullying you in school. And I was like, I thought we were friends.
That's wow. Oh, see that takes me back to years ago before I was doing comedy. I was working in central London, and we had like a day out on a Sunday to watch a football match. I mean that was bizarre.
Yeah.
But the guy who gave me a lift said, "Oh, I can't believe we're actually sat in the car driving on the way to a football match together." And I said, "How do you mean?" "Well, I mean, we hate each other, don't we?" And I didn't have a clue. I was like, "No, I had no idea." Still, yeah, honestly. He said, "Yeah, no, we're enemies. We're like bitter, mortal enemies." I'm like, "Mate, have you got the right person here? This is ridiculous." It's very sad. There was a woman as well at BT from Wales who she didn't like the look of me because I was the spitting image of a guy who she knew from her village in Wales.
Oh, amazing.
And I said to her, you do realise, don't you, that I'm not actually him? "Yeah, I know, but you look exactly like him, and it just sounds like he's doing a stupid accent." And I'm like, where did these people come from? And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not me." "No, I know, but it still sound. You look so much like him. I swear to God, you're him." And I go, "No, I'm not."
How funny.
I'm really genuinely not. So yeah, I know it's a cliche, but wow, I've met some interesting people.
Yeah.
Some characters. I like that.
That's amazing. See, I've done stuff like that in the past, but where I've met someone who looked like somebody that I used to know, reminds me of them in sort of some way, or I used to think they were a dickhead.
Yeah.
And I've got to know them and known that the person actually turns out to be lovely, or quite often, like I just found them intimidating because I was a very shy sort of teenager.
Same.
And then I got a load of confidence again around the age of 19, and then it just trailed off for my entire 20s. And then, like 28, I started working in that bar and started stand up at the same time.
Okay, that was cool.
And now I'm the overly confident man you see before.
Absolutely,
yeah,
but I love
not
it.
at all confident, but yeah, it's really weird. And so I've met people that used to intimidate me because I used to look at them and be like, "Oh my God, they're so cool!" Like they talk to people and everything, and I know them now, and I'm good friends with some of them.
Yeah.
But additionally, I've also met people who really, really remind me of people that I hated in school, and I've got to know them. And instead of sort of tarring them with the brush of being like, "Oh, you're the person that I knew in school and hated," I'm going, "Oh no, that person's been replaced now with this nicer version."
Yeah, that's a lovely way of looking at it. I mean, it's weird. I guess you never know who somebody is until you really speak to them.
Absolutely.
I'm always surprised and amazed and sometimes shocked, and not in a judgmental way, by what's going on in people's lives.
Yeah.
It's very easy to assume, and I think I was very shy, but now I'm in the Matt Price couldn't give a fuck years.
Yeah.
Really, I want people to like me. I want to get on, but it's like, nah, I'm going to die one day. I'm going to do the absolute best I can and try not to be shy and try not to be awkward and try and be forgiving of people. And it's interesting. And some people, you look at them and if I see someone who's sort of particularly good looking, for example, that's not an easy hustle either.
No, I'm sorry.
People can really no, exactly. You must find it very hard, because people make assumptions that everything in your life is going to be perfect. If you and it's not always the case. And I have to have a word on myself. Not so much now, but I just realised once, can't even remember when, that actually maybe I was in my 30s, and I thought, 10 years ago, I would have hated you purely on your appearance.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I just think, good on you, mate. You're a good-looking person. You enjoy yourself.
Embrace it, yeah.
Because you're going to be dead the same as me, without being too cynical, And so there's all sorts of people. I tell you something, actually, talking about appearances. My dad said to me years ago, and this worked out. He said to me, "Look, if ever somebody starts on you, if ever someone says to you, 'What are you looking at?' in a situation, just say to them, 'Sorry, you remind me of somebody from back home, and he's a great guy.'"
That's amazing.
Yeah, and do you know what? It genuinely helped me.
Yeah.
He must have told me that, I don't know, years and years ago. And bear in mind, my only experience really of sort of violence, I used to have a friend who would walk into the local pub. Every time he would walk in, he would go, "Right, This is back home in Cornwall. Right, who was the hardest bloke in this pub before I arrived? And he would get such an interesting response. And I remember one guy picking him up and physically carrying him out of the pub, and I could see his legs sort of almost like he was running through the air. Well, it was only asking, and he threw him out of the pub. But so my dad says to me, you know, in that situation, say that. So I was in Glasgow with the missus, and we were at Buchanan Street bus station having a cup of tea. And this was years and years later, and I love Glasgow, that's where Martha's from. And I make eye contact with a guy, and this guy says, "What are you looking at, pal?" And I remembered what my dad told me, and I said, "Look, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to stare at you." I said, "But you are, believe it or not, you are the spitting image of a guy who I used to know, a lovely guy from back home in Cornwall." And I kind of got out of it.
Yeah.
But then it sort of kicked off.
Right.
Because he said, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Cornwall." "Ah, Cornwall, it's beautiful." But my missus, who is 5'1" and quite ferocious, says, "Right, well, come on then." And I had to stand between the two of them. And I said to him, "Listen, I know this is going to be a bit odd, but I'm cool with you. Do you mind maybe walking away? Because if the missus kicks off, we're both in trouble." And he left.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know. So,
well played.
So I have my strategy, but I have my little Glaswegian human shield.
Yeah.
Which, given that I've told you that she got attacked all those years ago, could seem a bit crass, but it's not. I mean, she's great. She's over it. We're extremely happy, and I wouldn't mess with her.
Yeah,
definitely not. She's. I mean, I'm 6'3", and I'm like, I'm a big unit.
Yeah.
But my missus is more ferocious than me, genuinely. As an individual, she has a huge skill set.
Okay.
Everything from self-defense to hypnosis.
Really?
Yeah, conflict resolution she's trained in.
I'd love to say hypnosis in a fight.
Well, yeah, no. Do you know, she hypnotised me over the phone once.
Really?
Yeah, really. Honestly, yeah.
Wow.
It was extraordinary. When we were first together, she hypnotised me over the phone. She was quite cocky about it as well, but it was funny.
I mean, I would be too, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it was just weird. She brought me out of the trance of, wow, where did that half an hour go? Oh, it's okay, you've been under my spell, as it were.
Good grief.
Yeah, a very, very clever woman. But then she hasn't, you know, I'm not an idiot, but, you know, but she's very smart.
Yeah.
I mean, all of my misses.
Good. That's the way it should be, I think.
Yeah.
My fiance's quite incredible. She's a very clever woman and considerably funnier than I am. But
same with me.
Thankfully, too anxious to get on stage. So I'm safe.
That helps.
So instead, I've just got her saying, "Why don't you change that line to this?" And I go, "Thank you very much."
Oh, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. No, well, so you get to workshop stuff at home. Then?
Yeah. To some extent, she hates everything that I say to her. Wow. Comedy wise.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think
she enjoys the conversation.
Yeah, of course she enjoys the conversation. No, but she's not gonna. She's allowed to hate your comedy. But, yeah. How long have you been together for?
It's nearly 2 years.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah. So it's not long, but it's right, isn't it? So
it's all right.
Yeah. If it works, it works.
Yeah.
So.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Before, I'd never been with anyone for more than, 3 months.
We live in the same life, you know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're like 10 years, well, maybe longer. I don't know how, but you're going to be. You got things to look forward to, That's what I'm saying.
I hope so.
I was just about to say 10 years from now you'll be speaking to people in the criminal underworld, but that isn't quite what I meant. But no, I never had any long-term relationships until Martha. And it's worked out, which is good.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pleased. 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah, we're not married. We sort of, like car dealers, used car dealers. How much are you going to give me for that? And they'll agree on a price and they'll spit into it. And they'll shake hands. We kind of did that around about 2006. Do you think we'll get married? Yeah, I think so. And put it there, So we might, at one point, she wants to go skydiving, like a skydiving Elvis Presley wedding,
right? Okay.
In Las Vegas, and I'm just like, I can't do heights. Don't mind Elvis, he's the king, but I can't do heights.
The good thing about jumping out of a plane is that the heights will leave you.
Oh, they probably
you
will.
You won't be high for long.
No, well, that's true. Yeah, I suppose you can only be. Maybe you get less and less scared as you fall down. I don't
maybe,
know.
or just pass out near the top, wake up on the ground.
I don't want to get on the front page of Chortle for dying.
Yeah, dying during your wedding.
During a wedding. Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you've got to go somehow. How would you like to die?
Oh, bitten by a zombie.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the sound of it.
Like,
Yeah.
but sort of being mauled by several zombies. Sort of like I'm taking loads out, and I've got a grenade. They're all on me, and I'm like, I'll save everyone. Yeah, save the town. That's my thing.
It's great.
I'll be a martyr.
Oh, do you know? no, it's cool. It's great. And I sleepwalk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. And now I've stopped.
Somnambulism.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
I learned that word recently.
Very, very strange. I'm only saying that because I'd like to go out in a blaze of glory. I won't. I'll probably die, hopefully, in my 80s or something like that, in my sleep. It'll be nice. I won't know too much around it. I'll go to heaven. Everything will be cool. That's what I would like to happen. But there is a part of me that would like to be sort of like Jean-Claude Van Damme, and go out in a blaze of glory. I don't know if he dies in many of his films, but I sleepwalk, and I'm always trying to save the world, and I unplug things. So we have a double mattress on the floor, and I'm always unplugging Martha's iPad, which she doesn't take too kindly to.
Yeah.
I yanked a pillow out from underneath her one day, and I took the pillow and I threw the pillow out of our bedroom window because I thought it was an unexploded bomb.
Right.
And she said, "What did you do that for?" And I said, "Well, that's bomb disposal, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And it got really out of hand. One time I was in the West Country, Paul Revel, good friend of mine, very good comedian. He heard me screaming the place down. I dreamt I was on a battlefield. There was a guy who said he was a sniper at the gig, so that explains it.
Right, okay.
The red dot on the television made me think there's a sniper.
I
had a gun. I was going bang, 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 bang. And I woke up outside the hotel room on the landing with several startled guests in this sort of boutique hotel with the manager saying, "Mr. Price, if you break the hairdryer, you will have to pay for it. You do know that." I was so embarrassed. So I was like, "Oh, take the hairdryer back." I chuck in socks at the terrible in my sleep. Again, the red dots.
Wow.
It was terrible.
That's amazing.
And my favourite was when, because my voice changes as well, you see.
All right.
So I kind of, and I'll tell you why in a minute why I think it happens. Well, I kind of speak like this, because that's my hero voice.
Right. Okay.
So Martha's got a fan on her side of the bed, and I dreamt one day, and you're kind of half asleep. It's weird state. I can hardly describe it. There's a fan, and of course I dreamt that a World War II propeller plane had crashed into the wall. It was Martha's fan.
Oh, right.
Right, but I didn't know that. Next to the aeroplane, there was a casualty who was unconscious. So I thought, well, I better bend down and pick up the casualty. So I've got the casualty in my arms, and I can hear the casualty go, "Ooh, ooh," like this. And because I'm asleep, I can't quite make out, but I know they're a little bit upset and a bit distressed. And
Well, you would be. Your plane's just crashed.
Well, exactly. And I say something to I say something to her to reassure her. And then, of course, she goes, "Matt, you're fucking dreaming again." And I've got her in my arms, and she's angry because I said to her before I woke up, and this is a woman I adore, I said to her, "You're too heavy. You can't be saved." And she goes, "You're fat shaming me in my sleep. What are you doing?" And I'm going, "I'm really sorry. It wasn't me." And all that. So we kind of laughed about it. Then she makes me go to the doctors, and I go to the doctors and I go, "Look, I'm chucking stuff out of the bedroom window, like unexploded bombs and all that." And he kind of giggles, and he goes, "Look, I'm going to have to sort of look on my computer now." Martha sat digging me in the ribs. Come on, you need to tell him all the information. And he says, "Look, have you thought of maybe going for sort of psychotherapy or something like that?" And I said, "Well, not really." He said, "Well," I don't know how to say this, Mr. Price. He said, "But according to psychotherapists, explosions," I don't want to be crude on your podcast, but this is what he said.
Go on.
Explosions, it's the subconscious desire to ejaculate.
Right.
I know. And so I'm sat there with the doctor and the missus, and they're kind of, I can see they're stifling their laughter. And I go, well, look, it's not a subconscious, I'm a man, and I don't want to say this. I know you're a doctor. It's not a subconscious desire. I have the desire to ejaculate, but not out of my bedroom window. I don't want to be here anymore. What am I doing? And Martha said, well, you need to do something. You need to go for some kind of counselling or get some medication. And she's saying in front of the, I mean, what if it gets out of hand? You know, what if you end up dreaming that I'm an unexploded bomb? And I'm going, well, you're not an unexploded bomb. Oh, well, you wouldn't better throw him out the window because I'm too heavy. I can't be saved. So we kind of had a row about it. And then I started just talking about it, really. I've spoken about it a little bit on stage, not a lot. And obviously I spoke to Martha quite a lot about it. And then eventually it was sort of all right. You know, occasionally I will wake up and I'll think... I said to her one day, I woke her up and I said, do you know veeping and vaping? And she said, Matt, what the fuck are you talking about? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, do you know veeping and vaping? And she went, no. Okay, but you will. And just went back to sleep again. And then and also as well, I was told that when I was going, I had this gun in my hand, I was going bang, 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 bang in the hotel. Because you're asleep, because I was worried I was going to attack Martha in my sleep. And she said, no. She said, you won't. She said, because... I said, what about that time I was throwing hard, vicious Mike Tyson-type punches in my sleep? I was going bang, 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 bang. She said, no, you weren't. She said, you actually, so this is the speed you did it at, she showed me. You actually went, and that's the quick version of it. She said, I could have made a cup of tea. So I was outside the hotel room and I was with this hair dryer in my hand going, burn, burn, burn. And that. So every time we have an argument, we don't argue very often, but she's got a great sense of humour and she's funnier than me. Occasionally she will go, burn, and walk amazing. Off. It's great. I mean, between that and Hans the yodeling beaver, she's got me. I went to Austria and I brought her back a yodeling beaver. You squeeze it,
right? Okay.
Beaver, and you know, and it yodels. And we had a very rare row. I mean, you know, but I took a backward step and trod on this beaver, and it starts yodeling. And she said,
amazing.
She said, "We'll have to stop. We'll have to stop the argument now." I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So,
oh, brilliant.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect to tell you that, but I have.
No, great. I'm glad you did. We're going to have to wrap it up, unfortunately.
Cool. No, that's right. No worries. Thanks for having me.
I should have left here a little while ago.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Whilst we're here, what do you think of that tea? Because that was not a normal black tea after all.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I'd quite liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pleasant. Weird. It's sort of it's a bit like it was a little bit like a normal black tea, a little bit kind of Earl Grey-y.
Yes.
But also something that I don't know if I could pin down what it is.
Okay.
Something kind of floral.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I'm not scared about driving home, but for a moment I was thinking, what is this flavour?
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, right, okay. I mean, it tasted like sort of black tea gone slightly wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's probably a better description than what I just said.
No. I prefer your description. I felt that was more insightful, to be honest.
I'm trying not to become too much of a tea snob, but I am growing to learn the sort of the flavours of stuff. And
yeah.
It's it's nice. It was nice.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And I'll be taking some beetroot tea home with me as well, for which I'm very grateful.
Some of Twinings. Thank you very much, Twinings, for sending us that free tea.
Thank you, Twinings. You're great kind. People.
Matt's going to share that with Martha and have a lovely time.
I think so.
Yeah. So you're going to Australia for the Cornish...
the Cornish Comedians Showcase.
Yes.
Yes.
And where is that? Because this is what Daniel didn't know.
Oh, that's in Adelaide at the Griffins Hotel. And it's on the last 4 days of the festival. So it's the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. at the Griffins Hotel. Just follow the queue. It's going to be Cornish Mania.
Cool. Sounds good.
No, I don't know. I'm hoping it's going to be really good.
I've heard good things about it so far.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going well. I mean, I like comedy and I like being a comedian.
That's fortunate.
And hopefully it'll go well. I think we should have some fun.
Nice. Are you going to Edinburgh?
I will be going to Edinburgh. Not quite sure what I'm going to do just yet.
Cool. But just look out for you. This is around the sort of time when I'm asking that question, knowing that nobody can really give a solid answer. But
well, I know I definitely want to take a show. I like doing it. I've done loads of Edinburghs. I think 13 or something like that. So I've done a lot, and I always like to do something. I'm like the Cornish Arthur Smith. He always says he likes to go to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And I like to be out there doing something. It probably, if I'm honest, it'll be under the radar, on the free fringe, and
best way I find.
And I'll just have a really good time doing it.
Most fun way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have fun, enjoy myself, do it. I'm going to Asia in June to do some gigs as well. So that'll
great.
be nice. I've been there before, and I'm going back, so that's going to be good. I'm going to Vietnam and Thailand as well.
Oh wow,
which will be cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it should be good. I mean, it sounds good, but I've realised as far as the sort of the foreign gigs go, as it were. I remember saying to somebody, so I've did Slovenia and Croatia and Hungary, and then a Croatian comedian said, and I did Birmingham, Manchester, and Liverpool.
Yeah,
not that much different, mate.
Yeah,
but it's
that's
cool.
Funny. Nice. Have you got anything else to plug? Got your podcast, of course.
Well, there is the podcast. Yeah, absolutely. I'd appreciate it if people listen to it. It's
go and check that out.
It is good. I'm very proud.
It really is.
Yeah, and it's a bit different as well. I like to think it's different. I don't know. It's been an unusual, certainly an unusual journey, I would say.
Yeah.
So check out Conversations with Criminals.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks very much for coming on, man.
Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it.
It's been an absolute delight, and I have had to cut it slightly short, but just because we're getting kicked out of here in a minute.
That's all right. Brevity is good sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't worry about editing anything out.
Cool. Except for that one bit that you told me to absolutely edit out.
Well, yeah, no, there is that bit, but then we can leave people wondering what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I almost feel like I want to give a clue now, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. We'll leave
people intrigued. They'll have to come and see you live.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course.
Where there's a non-disclosure agreement to be signed on the way in and out.
Wow, it's a good way though. You need an angle.
Absolutely.
And so that could well be my angle. But yeah, well, if you edit that bit out, and then maybe people can email their suggestions as to what it might be that we spoke about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And win
Sounds
some
good.
Twinings tea.
Yeah. I could do that actually. That'd be fun. Go on. Yeah, get in touch. I'll do the links after. Are you on the social medias?
I am indeed. I'm. You can edit that bit out as well.
Maybe.
It's a shame he's not called Captain something or other, isn't it? Because I would have gone, yep, Captain.
Karen.
But unfortunately, you call someone and it does give it away.
Yeah.
You're
either or.
I'm at Matt Price Comedy on Twitter.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll find it if it's
no, it's pretty cool, and that's it. I reckon that must be it. I've warmed up to it. Maybe it's a Russian tea.
Yeah.
But I'm into it now. We could go again.
Yeah.
But let's not. Let's get out of here.
Let's do it in the car outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for coming on, man. Cheers. Bye.
Do I say as well? Sorry, I was letting you have the last word because it was your.
I often leave it like that. Oh, I'm being mocked by because I have re-recorded this outro about 7 times, and she keeps counting every time I say the word enjoyed, because I enjoyed the conversation. It was a good conversation. Stop it. I'm leaving that bit in, just FYI. That is 100%. I didn't say enjoyed. Oh, prick. Yeah, so it's a really good chat. I really enjoyed it. Oh, you. Don't forget to follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Price Comedy. Don't forget to follow me at Deaves, and the podcast at tpartypod. That is a letter tpartypod. That is tpartypod on Instagram and Twitter. And if you go to Facebook, you go facebook.com/tpartypod, and you will find the Facebook page. Please like it. Drop me a review on whatever podcast app you are listening to this on, especially if it's iTunes, because that helps other people find the podcast and makes me look good, and it makes me feel lovely and warm inside, which I think we can all agree is important. I've got someone lined up for next week who I'm going to record with, and then that will be coming out the following week, and then possibly just after that, I've got a very good author lined up. I've got a taxidermist friend. I've got many people in the pipeline, and at some point I'm going to have another big day of recording in London with a few very special guests. And I'm also currently reaching out to some very special guests. So fingers crossed, we'll be hearing from those soon. So until the next time, hopefully in a fortnight, enjoy yourselves. Have a lovely weekend or week or evening or whatever. Just have a lovely time. I love you. Thanks for listening. Bye.